Hopefully not.
Welcome to another YEV podcast, and this is basically a car podcast focused on EVs and on normal cars. Say normal, petrol and diesel cars, and we just try a balanced view on everything. That's the aim, and hopefully we do get to that point. But welcome everyone. My name's Tim Aylen, and Kevin and Alex join me as well. And today we're going to be talking about a little bit about the EV news and also about the EV rally that we all had yesterday. And it looks like we're all back safely home. So we managed to get home in our EVs and we didn't break down and we didn't run out of charge. It's amazing, chaps. I'll give you my kind of spiel in terms of my experience of range. So Rusty, I took my 127,000 mile Tesla Model 3 long range. I only charged it to 90%. I don't know why, just not fast enough charge. And I drove all the way to London, then all the way to Brighton. And then I stopped for 15 minutes on the way back, got home with like 20%. What about yourself, Kevin? How'd you get on?
Charged quite a bit more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we charged at Reading. We charged at Vitellamare. And to be fair, we did kind of swap cars and get one with a lot more charge than we gave one. So,
well, we'd have had an extra 20%.
Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, we would have had 20%, even 20% less. We would have made it to probably about Membry, wouldn't we?
Yeah. So
I mean, I was driving on the way back. So I mean, it wasn't as feather-footed as Kevin, but at the same time, it wasn't significantly worse than Kevin was getting. So
yeah. So we had a great day yesterday at the EV rally, and I had a lot of fun, probably winding up Kevin a little bit about his efficiency. And anybody that wants to watch the video, I did actually release the video early. I was going to release it on Wednesday, but I thought, you know what? No time like the present. So if anybody wants the full review of what happened at the EV rally and how much annoying noise I was making out of my sound speaker of the Tesla and all the other stuff and fun stuff that was happening, then check it out. It's now live on the YouTube channel. But yeah, no. So, guys, explain what you were driving. Kev, you go first and tell us how you got
on. Well, actually, there's one thing that you missed in the EV rally is you got a mention in the award ceremony.
I was going to say,
yeah. Did I really?
Apparently,
I didn't go to the award ceremony. I hasten to add. What did they say? Hopefully, nothing too horrible.
I did believe there was a cat involved in the sound effects from your car at the finish line.
Well, you know. The presenter said that my car was making stupid noises, and I didn't react to it. I said, "Look, it's just a bit of fun." And she asked me what my favorite noise was, and I thought the cat was probably the best at that space of time. But again, you'll see that because I actually recorded the interview, so watch that on the video. No other derogatory, any negative stuff about the Tesla making annoying noises then?
No, she said it was a demonstration of cutting edge EV technology, including a Tesla that makes cat noises. She said, "Who knew that was what they needed?" And both of us were like, "Oh, and he's not even here to hear it." So,
well, it's I do try and kind of break the mold a little bit. That's what Chargeheads is all about. Trying to push the boundaries a little bit, and whether that involves pussy noises, then so bloody be it.
And the Microlino did well this year.
Yeah.
Yes, the person didn't get it wasn't being driven like it was a rally, as in like the old sort of RAC rally. So it did 14 miles per kilowatt hour.
14.
Yeah, and it got a little bit of then again cutting edge technology. It was filled up by Mark Potter from 3TI using vehicle to load at the end. So so it was another EV sacrificed some of its power to charge up the little Microlino.
Well, big shout out to the 3TI crew. They've got some amazing solar canopied charging units. Amazing. I bought shares, funnily enough, when I first saw them at the EV rally, and amazing company, and they're doing some great stuff. Was it vehicle to load off their EV6?
Off Mark's EV6. Yeah, so there's just a little picture of it going into weirdly, it's obviously going from a DC converter to AC to go back to DC, but
oh well.
So
I did. I love the Microlino. I've not driven one yet, but I sat in it and I did a proper video of it last year, and I did. It probably unfairly said that it does remind me of a handbag on wheels, because it's kind of cute and kind of chic looking, perfect city car. It's a bit like a handbag on wheels. So, but it was like a nice jolly comment. That's where I sit.
And Alex has got some relatives of the Microlino that his kids go out and play on.
Yeah, my kids are all micro scooter kids. So I hadn't really realised until last year that it's the same company that does the micro scooters that my kids absolutely adore. Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
aren't they illegal?
They're not illegal. They're not electric scooters, so they're just
okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Yeah, I know that my daughter's very much wanting to get an electric scooter and start riding around High and Ferrers. But no, it was so yeah. Because just to highlight to people, so Kevin was driving the BYD Sea Lion, and he was efficient racing against Rick Bolomir. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. And he
Bolomir, I think.
Something like that. He's got a YouTube channel called Generate Media, and he does some amazing media for lots of different brands. Lovely chap. And basically Kevin was driving the same car as Rick, and they both had different tire brands, one with the Hankook and one with the original non-EV tires. And there was I don't want to spoil the video, so go and watch the video to find out what happened and who got the best efficiency. But talking about the Microlino, you said 14 miles per kilowatt. That is outstanding.
Yeah,
the only thing that will spoil this, the only thing that will spoil this a little bit on the results is that a self-built electric Bond bug got 16 miles per kilowatt hour. So someone who converted a Bond bug into an electric car was even more efficient, probably because it weighs like virtually nothing, I would imagine, a Bond bug.
Funnily enough, I did a review again on the web. Keep like plugging the video. I did a proper review on that, and he said that it's normally 10 miles per kilowatt, which I was amazed by, but it's a DC motored conversion done by Silent Classics. He's also got another Bond bug that was done by London Electric. I think their name was. They went out of business, unfortunately. That was an AC motor. It didn't do so well. But yeah, it's an 18 kilowatt hour battery in that, and it's got a 7 kilowatt AC type 2 charging facility. So it charges pretty quick for an for what it is. But I managed to sit in it. It's a lovely thing. But yeah, that's again huge miles per kilowatt. It's crazy efficient.
I mean, it kind of goes to show that actually maybe we should be focusing on smaller, more efficient things, because as nice as the Sea Lion 7 is, it's nice inside and stuff. Do we need a 522 brake horsepower all-wheel drive SUV to go around town? Probably not.
I'm going to step up and say that yes, absolutely, we really do not, and it is a nice vehicle, and there is a market for it, but it's partially with this. It's a price positioning thing, isn't it? Is that if you're offering a vehicle at £60,000, you do need to be able to offer it with quite a lot of horsepower these days, and it's quite easy to do that with an EV. My sense of it is, though, that it's as the technology gets cheaper and becomes more applicable for small cars, you probably get more of those kind of Microlino and larger, your kind of super mini stuff. I mean, there was a Puma Gen E on the rally yesterday, which is good to see. I mean, that's the UK's best-selling car. We did well in a Corsa E last year, and that was again that's a popular nameplate. That's a vehicle that people know. I did feel, I wasn't wildly impressed with the Sea Lion's efficiency, but I said as much on the launch. I mean, it's a vehicle with a 91 kilowatt hour battery, and the official range on it is only 312 miles in top spec. I mean, at the top, I think the longest range version is still under 350 miles with that pack. It's a lot of raw materials, and a lot of vehicle to move. I mean, it only has 2 rows of seats. It doesn't have, it's not a 7-seater like the EV9 is. It's a lot of vehicle, and we're in danger, I think, with some of the vehicles, a bit like you get this in the States with things like the F-150, the Cybertruck, the Chevrolet, what's it called, the Chevrolet pickup truck and the Hummer and other vehicles is there's certainly a market for those vehicles, but I kind of wonder when you look at those, it's like we're just repeating ICE car mistakes with an EV, and that's not wholly sustainable either. So I think there's a lot of logic behind kind of downsizing the vehicles before you then electrify them. But yeah, I also understand that there is a market for £60,000 luxurious high performance SUVs. I just feel with the C line, as good a car as it is fundamentally, it would be nice to have 350, 400 miles of range to a 90 kilowatt hour pack rather than have 500 horsepower and only 300 miles of range. Because I think in real world, after you've given it a squirt a few times in terms of the performance, you probably want the range more than you do the performance. And it's be perfectly ample with like 350 horsepower.
So what was the difference in miles per kilowatt hour between the C Line and the EV9 last year?
Well, Warren did do cycling speed, so I would say significant.
Didn't the EV9 beat us last year in the Corsa?
Yeah, I believe it just did, didn't it?
It was, which means it would have been like 6 points something. Yeah, it took another 3 hours on top of the Corsa to get there.
Wow, that's impressive. Very impressive. Okay, what did the BYD C Line get?
Difficult to say. It's trip computers.
Crap. Trip computers crap. I think again, given the prevalence of fleet sales in that sector, you want something with a good trip computer in it, something where you can really log your mileage and your efficiency and stuff. You want that in that kind of car. And yeah, the C Line's got a very odd set of trip computers, one for lifetime and one for the last 50 miles. Neither of those are really useful, I don't think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I have found one which is kind of useful, which I wish you could actually just display it, is if you turn the ignition off before you open the door, it tells you how many kilowatt hours you've used for that entire journey. But it only displays
says as soon as you open the bloody door.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to know there was a hell of a lot of, there was 2 C Lines obviously and about 5,000 BYD Dolphin Surfs, maybe not 5,000, maybe like 10. And I must admit, I was really impressed with that drive. And just to clarify, I wasn't paid for that review because I think there's a few videos floating around some things about BYD at the moment. But be interested to know what efficiency that got. And I would be interested to see what the Renault 5 got, because there was a Renault 5 running, which was really interesting. And just
that did get something most presented, didn't it?
Just to point out, Michael Singer, hi mate. Yes, I'm looking forward to Saturday. Weather is looking amazing. That is for the Tesla Supercharged event, which is on Saturday. So come on down. I'm going to be recording video content of the modified EVs and everything else that's there, and doing a video, of course, afterwards. Sorry, Kevin, carry on.
Yes, the Renault 5 got best presented. And that was over 5, didn't it? It got something like 5 something on the slides at the end. So you'd expect
really want one. I really, really, really want the Renault 5. I really want an Alpine A290, but I'd be quite happy with a regular one as a daily. I love it. I think it's a wonderful little car.
What was the efficiency of the Surfs then? There was that many of them. There must have been some figures thrown out.
None of them won categories, so we don't know. Because the 5 won a category, it got shown on the screen, but I can't remember what the efficiency was. But yeah, it was good. It wasn't like mind-blowingly good, but it was good. So
Gary will be the one to ask. Gary Camerford was driving one.
Ah, yes, good shout.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the BYD Surf with the really cool carbon rear spoiler?
No.
Oh, it was the one that had I think it was the karaoke car. It had this really cool carbon, proper aggressive rear spoiler. I'll put it on the. I didn't get it in the video. I kind of got it in the video, but I'll put it on Instagram or something like that in the pictures. But yeah. Roland's popped in a fantastic comment. Very relevant. Size and affordability over performance is a must. It depends on your preference. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean the fact that we're highlighting vehicles that are doing triple the miles per kilowatt of some of the vehicles out there. I mean, for a runabout, I mean that would be ideal. I mean, really, it would be great if we had a small car and just one Tesla. but obviously I'm just greedy.
Yeah. Well, we could probably. The official figure on the C line is not high, is it? It's 3 point something.
2.8 is WLTP on the C line, which is pretty poor. Yeah, I mean that's Audi e-tron territory.
Oh, and Michael's chipping in about Supercharge Show again. I wonder if Tesla will allow test drives of the Cybertruck next Saturday, as it's on private property. Would be amazing. That would be amazing. I agree. Roland's mentioned, question for you all, is the EV6 really as efficient as they state in the sales blurb? Ooh.
Well, I haven't driven one facelifted one, but I drove the previous one on one of the Green Fleet rallies, and we driven gently during the kind of warmer weather and stuff. We got it to do 400 to a charge.
Wow.
I've driven. Go on,
Kev. What was the miles per kilowatt on that?
So I don't know, what's 400 times? Well, I mean, it goes over 5 miles per kilowatt hour driven gently around town, and so I mean it's fractionally better than the Ioniq 5. I think it may have slightly better aero.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Sorry, Alex.
But the platform's the same.
I have driven the new EV6, albeit only on a short route, and it was in December, so it was quite cold, and it was the first time that anyone had driven it that day, so it was completely cold. It was misted over and everything, and I was getting low 4s out of it on a gentle kind of cross-country drive. I really like the EV6. It's one of my favourite EVs. There's just something about it. I think it's got real presence to it.
Salesforce says 112 watts per mile. Wow, that is.
Doesn't that mean they carry 112 watts per mile? That would be.
That's like 8. That's about 8. That's about 8 miles per kilowatt hour. It wouldn't be as much as that.
Unless it's kilometers or something. Could be kilometers.
That would still be very high, wouldn't it? Hang on a sec.
So Michael's just put a lot of Chinese market EV are really gaining speed now. Just look how far BYD have come. EV future is looking bright. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe we cover the that sort of stuff about what's going on out there. I think will be more prominent for next week. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's so many cars on the road Chinese wise. I see loads of Omodas everywhere, and I think we covered it last week with regards to the hybrids with the bigger batteries, which seems like it would be a good solution for the people that don't have home charging and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's horses for courses in that respect. Oh, Stuart, I don't think you've ever commented before. Thanks for chipping in. I did see your Scenic, mate. I loved that. It was like a matte grey colour. Drove my Scenic to Brighton yesterday. Yeah. Did 220-mile round trip and still had 44% left. Bloomin' heck, that's awesome. And the new Nissan Leaf is based on that chassis, isn't it? I think. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Which looks quite exciting. So I'll tell you what, shall we hit some news? Because I suppose that leads me nicely that is some really good news that that the new Nissan Leaf has been launched. And I really hope that Nissan get out the hole that they're in, because they are in a massive hole when it comes to profitability and all the rest of it. So will the Nissan Leaf win people over and generate some revenue for them? I'm not massively confident, because there's so much competition for that car. I mean, would they have been a safer bet sticking with the same size, chaps, like the original size of the Nissan Leaf?
I think it's yet another SUV, small compact electric SUV that'll be quite quick, have a lot of screens in it and stuff. It's fine. The old Leaf was interesting because it was different. I mean, different, not necessarily good for sales, but I kind of feel like it's dropped in line with the rest of them. It's kind of lost its USP. It would have been nice to have seen the Leaf come back almost like an Ioniq type, original Ioniq type shape, like a real, like a proper wind knife vehicles, something to really show off Nissan's EV tech. But that's not what people want, is it? I mean, people want a high riding compact SUV. Sorry,
it's the EV pervert spec, isn't it?
Spec, yeah.
It really is, isn't it? It's like, and there was a few wind lights. There was a 38 kilowatt, a couple of them, 28 kilowatt. KC talks, Kevin, he does a lot of reviews and stuff. He got, I think, and I put it in the video, it was like 6.7 miles per kilowatt, but there was someone else who got 7.4.
There was a winner. What was it, 8 they got, or was it 7?
I think you got more like 8, yeah.
Yeah, more like 8 in the original. So in the original one, I mean, that's one project. I mean, me and Alex were talking about on the way home. Is could you get an Ionic, the original Ionic, and just do like you mod, but mod the opposite way to make it as possibly efficient as you could, to see what you could get out of one. And I think there needs to be more vehicles like that, because that was built because you couldn't do a big battery. So,
but look what happens.
So they made
but look what happens when you do. Look what happens when you do get cars like that. You get cars like the Ionic 6 that I think is really cool, because it is designed as the another wind knife, isn't it? And people don't want it. People want SUVs.
I would say that's definitely classified. If we had like one of them old school Top Gear tables of EV pervert spec, that the Ionic 6 would definitely be in there.
I love the Ionic 6. I know people kind of say that it's ugly, but it's got real presence in it.
I'm not driven it. I need to drive it. I definitely need to drive it, but I agree with you, Alex, mate. I think it looks great. Just let me rattle through the comments. Lewis, I don't think you commented before, so thanks for chipping in. X-Pen looked great. Saw images of the P7 Plus recently, absolutely gorgeous. I was actually at IM Group, which used to be the importer of Mitsubishi, and they import Isuzu, and I think they import the Funky Cat, and the X-Pengs. And there was loads in the car park, and they do look pretty smart, to be fair. Fairly generic looking SUVs, but like the Tesla Model Y, to be fair.
What's coming next week in a few weeks' time to test.
Oh, really? Nice. So I recently had issues with my EV home charger. I had no clue the electrician had fitted substandard equipment. Stay away from Whitecliff electrical distribution. My RCBO module fuse went. There we go. Thanks for sharing, Michael. Yeah, share any like negative stuff on here. Happy to share it to help people make decisions, etc. More of a Polestar 2 face fastback style, shaped like the Renault Scania. Prefer it lower though. Michael's chipping in again. Good man. The only option was to order online. In the future, I'll need to replace the full isolation switch to a better one. VW ID2 GTI and R will be interesting.
Great.
No. I'm not.
I hope so. I really hope so, because at the moment, for a brand with a heritage like Volkswagen's got, they ought to be able to do a good hot GTI EV. But at the moment, GTX just seems to have kind of missed the mark completely. And given all the stuff they did with the IDR, do you remember the IDR? The Pikes Peak car, where it was just absolutely obliterating everything at the Nürburgring and Pikes Peak and stuff.
I thought speed didn't matter.
Not done.
I thought speed didn't matter.
It doesn't. No. For performance cars, it's great, but they haven't picked that up and done anything with it. You know, they did like a kind of back in 2020, like a kind of a concept car prototype ID3R, but they've never really done. And didn't call it the ID3R, but to me, that's always been an obvious thing to do, is to take what they did with the IDR and do like an ID3R and ID4R, like they've done with the Tiguan, the Golf, and so on. Just fit the dual motor system to it and have it as a high performance vehicle. But the GTX stuff is never it just hasn't had any real traction with enthusiasts, because it's bits you can get in kind of fairly ordinary sister products to like the ID4 and stuff. And it's just kind of, it's going to be a fast SUV. It's not going to have. They need to really work very hard on getting the ID2 GTI to feel like a GTI, and the R's the same. They've got the potential to do it.
Yeah. I mean, getting back to that balance we were talking about, you know, don't need the power, don't need the heaviness, don't need so much tech. And I think we'd all agree here, not that I've driven yet, I'm planning to drive the next week or so, the Renault 5. Are there any other vehicles that have kind of got the balance right? Because it does seem, I believe that the Renault 5, not having driven it yet, it seems to tick a lot of boxes, but there's not that many small cars. I mean, obviously, I'm going to argue that the Tesla Model 3 and the Y tick a lot of boxes, but there aren't that many cars that, you know, that you're like, oh, really excited by the looks, the tech, the range, and it like ticking all those boxes. I mean, can you guys think of any other ones in the market?
The one that did get a lot right, but it hasn't had a huge amount of traction, is the Fiat 500. I think the Fiat 500 did an awful lot of things really right. It was a really nice kind of modernization of what made all the last one cool. And actually, they hadn't gone massive on the range or anything like that. And that kind of kept the pricing quite keen.
Yeah.
I haven't seen loads of them around, but I suppose it's quite expensive for a Fiat 500 with still not a huge amount of range, even though range-wise it's probably plenty for your average kind of Fiat 500 driver. That's one that comes to mind. 600 is good actually as well. I'd lived with a 600 for 6 months last year. I thought it was a really good little car, a very likable little car. Again, I've hardly seen any of them on the road. So, again, we're back on EV perverts back here, you know. I'll tell you what. I tell you a really stylish, just a good all-round vehicle. I feel like I'm just kind of Stellantis fanboy here. Is the Jeep Avenger?
Yeah. I saw
that's a really cool car
yesterday, actually. But I mean, check this out. Look at the wheels on this car. I think this is on a 600.
That's the Bath one.
Yeah, they look really tidy. Really, that looked really cool.
Because that's got
those wheels.
The like really powerful motor, isn't it?
Very cool.
Yeah, but you know, Stellantis, I'm not a massive. You know, I know you guys love your Vauxhalls.
I think the thing with Stellantis is I think they've turned a corner on their.
Yeah, I do too.
They put a lot of stuff out, which the older motor we'll all admit was not great. You know, you notice it's got a little wobble at low speeds and stuff like that. But they've turned a corner in a similar way to, you know, how they evolved with their diesel cars. They now seem to be focused on doing it with their electric cars because, you know, people used to say with like Peugeot or PSA Group diesels, they were like pretty bomb-proof, weren't they? They were really solid diesels. And I think they're trying to get there with electric. And I think they've turned a corner recently with their stuff because it is as efficient as the Hyundai stuff. And it's just that massive jump. And that's across the board. But the 500 was always really efficient because me and Alex took the early one on the an EV rally in Scotland, which was during the winter pretty much, wasn't it? And that was delivering figures better than all the other ones. So I do wonder if they've taken some of the knowledge from, because it was as they were buying Fiat. So I wonder if they've taken the knowledge from that and kind of applied it to the rest of their cars.
Yeah. I mean, E-tripping with Adam Gebert has just mentioned Peugeot E208, which is pretty much the Vauxhall Corsa, right?
Yeah, or rather, the Corsa is the 208, but yeah,
right.
I really like the 208. 208's got all the is basically with the Corsa, as good as it is. They took all the kind of the nicely designed bits out of the E208 and just kind of stripped it back to being kind of something plainer and more kind of sort of German sensibilities, and that's fine as well. But the E208's got some really nice touches, like it's got the 3D screens where it's got the dual layer things where it looks like certain bits of the display are floating and things. It's quite neatly done. It's a nice little car, the 208.
The only thing about Stellantis stuff is just based on the feedback that I've had from a few people is just the right to repair is a bit of an issue. Like like to try and repair something, it's not just that little item. You've got to replace the whole thing, which tends to be really expensive. And if cars are in a crash, etc., they tend to be written off quite easily from what I hear. That's the only thing that would like put me off from buying a used one. But on a lease, like throwaway lease, then obviously it's not an issue. But I've got a conscience. Can't
you've got that. But you've got that with Renault, haven't you? Because there's a lot of that. Have you seen all the videos of those? The early Renault Zoes where the battery's fine, but the motor bearing's gone. Yeah. And if you go to Renault for it, you have to buy the entire motor for a couple of thousand. But I think there are going to be like people who start to learn how to do this because now there are companies that can do the motor bearings on a Zoe without doing the whole motor. So I think maybe it's not necessarily right to repair. It's the third party people haven't caught up yet. Whereas they had years to catch up with petrol cars and work out the workarounds and stuff.
But isn't it you can't buy the parts, you have to buy used parts, though?
I mean, there's going to be more and more used parts, and that's what people used to do with their ICE vehicles, wasn't it? You go down the breakers yard.
I disagree with that. I'm all up for purchasing used parts. That's what I do, just because I'm tight and that's the way I like to do things. And it's obviously greener, which helps. But no, it's it's an interesting one from repairing these cars because there's still quite a lot of I'm not going to say misinformation. I hate that word, but there's a lot of stuff out there saying that electric cars they don't last and all the rest of it. So I'm a big advocate of just showing how they can last longer.
There's a piece of regulation that came out a couple of years ago that got really widely misreported about end of life vehicles, and it's a European regulation, but by default it will start to influence stuff in the UK. Is that vehicles for the European market increasingly have to be designed to be taken apart so that the resource heavy elements of that car can be taken out and reused. So it has to be designed for end of life recycling. So then it actually specifically says in that, particularly for electric vehicles where you've got quite a lot of resources go into the manufacturing process, so it makes sense to keep them on the road for longer. So I think you'll start to find that there's more of an aftermarket that can work on it. I mean, a lot of the stuff is standard car stuff anyway. I mean, your suspension and steering stuff is an evolution of what you've got in standard cars anyway, isn't it? So, but it's the other stuff will come with time, I guess.
So BOYV has written Smart 166 kilowatt hour. I don't mind the Smart one. I'm not driven it. Some mixed reviews out there. Obviously, it's kind of Mercedes based, but actually, it's a Chinese car, isn't it?
It's more Volvo, not Volvo Geely. But do we think that Smart have lost their way a bit? They're not really what I my wife used to own a Smart car back in the day, back in 2009, and they had the quirky ones. I think again, we're talking about that. They've become big SUVs, Smart cars. I mean, surely they should have the little electric Smart car with a reasonably decent range.
Yeah, good shout.
And you don't even get the stuff that came from the Swatch era where you could swap the panels over and have all sorts of different colourful options anymore either. I mean, a lot of that stuff's been lost over the years. But I mean, for me, I thought that Smart lost it after the first generation of the coupe, where it got re-engineered for America, and you couldn't fit it sideways in a parking space anymore. Once it lost that, it ceased to be quite so clever. But I remember somebody I won't name, somebody within the industry was saying that when I think it was Clarkson described the first Smart as feeling like the wheels were attached to the steering wheel with bungee cords, he wasn't far wrong. And having driven a first generation Smart, he's pretty accurate with that. So
yeah. No, fair play. I mean, let's hit a couple of news items that I spotted this week. One, obviously, we've mentioned the Nissan Leaf. Also, Tesla robotaxis. Quite a lot in the media at the moment with regards to the robotaxis in Austin. So, yeah, that's been, robotaxis as in their Model Ys with robotaxi written on them. Obviously, driverless, so they're doing lots of rounds. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. There is apparently a new Xiaomi coming, the YU7. There is a Tesla battery mega project going on in Shanghai. Some special mega packs going on there for grid storage. Interesting to see actually on a map. I'm sure you could find this somewhere where mega packs are there in the world, because there's one up in Hull which support the coastline of windmills. Turbines, you know what I mean? So that's an interesting one. And you mentioned something on this, Alex, something on The Guardian, apparently. Labour scraps 950 million EV rapid charger fund that were first announced by the Conservatives, which is strange, especially with Labour's kind of focus on net zero. Do you know much about that, Alex?
Yes, I know that the details are limited on it. So when they had a document called the Plan for Change last December, within this, so that a lot of stuff is referencing the fact that there was a spending review, which is the next phase of Labour's spending plans and so on. And within that, there's a commitment to spend, I think it's 200 million over the next X number of years. So they've committed this year to some spending on charging funding, which is largely the levy, so that's the local authority funding. They're committed to another 200 million over, I think it's 2026 to 2029. But it doesn't specifically mention within the spending review the rapid charging fund, which a lot of people have taken to mean that it's no longer a thing. As far as I can tell, it hasn't officially been cancelled, but obviously that funding is quite a long way short of it. And they haven't been very specific in the spending review about what this additional tranche of funding from 2026 onwards it covers. So it might be that it's smaller, but the rapid charging fund was set up years ago. It did some trials in I think 2020, 2021, and nothing's happened with it. And it's kind of ticked along in the background. And it was specifically mentioned after Labour got into power that they were going to make sure that this funding was allocated as quickly as possible. So to then look like it's being scrapped a few months later, I don't know that it has been. It just hasn't come up in the spending review. So it may be that it's still on hold. It may be that it's included in that 2026 funding package for charging points, and not all of that's for the levy. But yeah, it seems to have been on. It seems to have disappeared again. The can's been kicked.
Yeah. There's a report that I read on it though that it was people weren't claiming it, that like the businesses that were building rapid charging were just cracking on without the grant, so they were doing it on a commercial basis. So maybe it's just one of those grants that you put out and doesn't get claimed enough because people are just trying to do it commercially.
You couldn't though. It was never formally available. They got as far as the pilot stage, and then they never got as far as actually launching the scheme. So maybe they had low interest in it and just decided not to do it. But as I say, only a few months ago they were saying, we want to make sure this funding gets released as quickly as possible, and then it's just kind of disappeared off the radar. So who the hell knows what's going on with it? But it's interesting what you say about that in terms of people just cracking on with it. I mean, the rapid charging network and the charging network in general is growing so quickly in the UK with almost no support behind it. And it just goes to show, I think, that when you get some stability in terms of policy, so you had 5 years now of kind of really good company car tax breaks. We've got other things now that are still in the pipeline to the end of the year, until the end of the decade. You've now got the used car market sort of picking up, so people are picking these vehicles up at the end of a first owner lease. You've got that natural level of demand there that's creating a market for charging, that's meaning that companies are investing in it. So it's interesting to see with all the fuss that's going on in the States in terms of withdrawing charger funding and so on, that actually if you look at the UK, once you have a natural market for vehicles, businesses want to invest in putting that infrastructure in place, which is good. It's positive.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. Go on, Kev.
Yeah, I think maybe that they should start, maybe rather than trying to focus on getting the chargers in, is focus on working out how to support the pricing being more equal for people. Use that funding for that.
No, it's absolutely bang on. I mean, I saw Believe we're at the EV rally, and every time I see Believe, all I think about is 54 pence per kilowatt hour on my local AC charger, and obviously that's more expensive than running like a petrol car, really. I mean, yeah, you could argue that longevity of an EV and no servicing within reason, less servicing, depending on what the EV is and all the rest of it. But 54p, I mean, how is that sustainable? And I think they've won a load more funding from the government actually to roll out more chargers. So yeah, it would be really good to see that down to like 35p. I think 35p, maybe 40, is kind of got to be the focus on AC charging overnight to make it actually viable for people to be comparable, or
I mean
diesel.
The big thing is the VAT, or something needs to be done. Something needs to be done about that, because I know from running charging networks that when you add maintenance, because people want them, you do need a maintenance contract on these things because people don't want to turn up and find them broken. It's very hard to make any money at 45 pence a kilowatt hour and stuff, and that's and that's with the energy rate come down. So I mean, we were shocked how much the motorway service ones have increased when we stopped to charge that thing. Grid service now 85 pence, and they used to be one of the cheaper ones. And now you've got
free. Originally, if you remember back to the old electricity days, and that's a long time ago.
But now it's and I remember Ionity used to be the kind of the most expensive one. But it's almost like they planned their market, or they planned how to roll them out in a way that was more sustainable, because now they're one of the cheaper ones, Ionity, which, if you've got your Electriverse card, I think or if you've got even a subscription on it, you can get Ionity down to really low cost per kilowatt hour.
What sort of money?
Pardon?
What sort of cost?
I'm sure I've seen it 43 pence on the Rapid, if you remember. But even on if you've got Electroverse, it's well below the 80 pence now.
Looks like E-Tripping has got a Hyundai Insta coming tomorrow. Any good? I've heard really positive things about it. The guy Sniff from the Sniff and Smith podcast, who used to do a lot of the Top Gear stuff. I forget his name.
Johnny Smith.
He
no, not Johnny Smith. Yeah,
the other guy.
One. I can't.
Yeah, he raves about
Richard
it.
Porter.
Richard Porter,
Richard
yeah.
Porter.
And I plan to drive that after the Renault 5, because if I drive the Renault 5 and the BYD Surf, I think I've got to drive the Insta as well. The only negative is it's a four-seater. A lot of these small cars seem to be four-seater. I don't get it. But
the interesting thing is I feel the Insta will be more efficient than the Renault 5, but the Insta is probably more challenging on the looks department than the Renault 5.
Yeah, it is
so
a bit challenging.
And the stupid thing is that people generally buy a car with their heart, not their head. So it could be like twice as efficient, the Insta, but people will still buy the 5 because they think it looks cool. Like Alex thinks it clearly looks cool because he wants one.
The interesting thing I think with the Insta is a car that motoring journalists will love. Whether the general public latch onto it in the same way or not, I'm not so sure. I really like it. In theory, I haven't driven one yet, but I think it looks cool. But I think it's the kind of car that people who like cars will like, but the sort of people that they actually need to target with it might find a bit challenging.
So Lewis Standings put difficulty with competition and market. Difficulty was competition and market authority kicked up a fuss because basically GridServe had a monopoly on the MSA EV charging and no one else would have been able to claim it. I mean, there does, there's lots of good and positive stories in the EV arena, but there's obviously lots of companies struggling out there as well. So it'd be interesting to see what it looks like in a couple of years. But I'm conscious that this is all about the EV rally. So should we hark back into the EV rally for the last 15 minutes? What did you think of the day, chaps? I mean, just as a very quick, in a nutshell, overview, it's like everyone's friendly, really good fun. I always love getting to Brighton, free fish and chips. Some interesting cars there. There could have been more interesting cars. There were some cool EV conversions, Lotus Evora, Tesla powered. There was the Toyota FJ old school.
That was gorgeous.
Before, yeah, I've got the content on the video I just did. That was cool. The Bug, of course. There was an electric Porsche that was down there, but it didn't partake in the rally. What other interesting cars were on there? The Austin, I don't think it made it. That Austin pickup.
Oh, it didn't make it.
I don't think so. No, because that's on there pretty much.
We got there so late because of the video stuff that we think we missed quite a lot. So I don't know which ones actually made it to the end, unless they came up in the presentation. So the Austin was nice, but the FJ Land Cruiser was my pick of the lot.
It was gorgeous,
Stunning.
Absolutely gorgeous. Let me find a picture. But what did you guys think overall of the event?
I think it was bigger than. I mean, as Alex said, we got there last, but it was bigger than we thought. Bigger than last year, and as you said, there were a lot more self-build conversions.
There you go.
Very cool.
Yeah, you think there's a lot of conversions? I mean,
there was a lot more than last year because there was only like 1 or 2 last year, wasn't there? But this seemed to be, and I mean that, as you say, that FJ that looked like a proper bare metal rebuild one. It was like, it looked like a new vehicle, didn't it?
Yeah, it was literally, you could eat your dinner off it and you could add the gravy, mate. It was amazing. So maybe next year, if you're not driving anything, chaps, I'll drive Trikey. Kevin, you can drive the Tesla because I think you should see if you can get some amazing efficiency out of that. And Alex, you can just drive the TVR.
I still want to build an EV project. I still want to do an EV conversion. I don't know what I'm going to do it in. It strikes me that it'd be fun to have a sister car for this that's electric, but it's a bit samey. I think if I'm going to do something, I want to try and do something a bit different with it, but I don't
know. Yeah. And sorry, Kev, go.
Yeah, see, I still want to build the ultimate Ionic to beat everyone on. Literally, an Ionic will just strip everything out of it. It'll be just 2 seats.
We've found a car that Kevin wants to modify. I think it'd be cool. Sorry, I'm losing my voice after yesterday, but no, I think that'd be a really interesting project. I tell you, the other way of doing it is to really do the one that I was talking about years ago and do the Honda Insight, because that'd be very easy. You stick a modern battery, an EV drivetrain, and a Honda Insight, and then just strip everything out of it You know, I'm talking like Kirky bucket seats and all that sort of stuff. And that'd be quite a fun little car. Polycarbonate windows, really skinny wheels with like aero discs on them and stuff. Or
There was
moon discs.
Someone had converted one. I think I shared it with you guys, or maybe it was you, Alex. Yeah, someone had actually converted one to full electric.
Yeah.
But there's not that many out there. I think Ewan McTurk is looking to do that.
Yeah,
funnily
he
enough.
is, yeah. His is modified already, isn't it? It's got some sort of aftermarket bits on it.
It's got a more modern battery in it, isn't it?
Yeah.
His as well can he can shut off the engine, so he can actually drive it in fully electric mode, which you can't do with the integrated motor assist. I mean, it's a kind of a slightly less mild hybrid setup, isn't it? It's not really, because IMA is not like a proper hybrid system with an EV mode. It's EV assistance on top of a so on top of a small petrol. It's 1.3, isn't it? The Insight.
Yeah, you drove one of the Heritage ones once, didn't you?
Yeah.
What I was going to say was there's a couple of comments on a video, and I know we've spoken about it before. That what gets me with the EV Rally, I think it's great. You know, efficiency, all good fun. It's just not me. Like from efficiency, I think we need to start another rally of some description. But you know, I think maybe the next 10 minutes we should get people commenting in about what type of event we should do that involves kind of fun things with electric. I'm all up for doing like a show, but I think we just need some sort of backbone to base it around. You know, whether it's EV drag racing, EV drifting, EV like rally, what have you. But
I think endurance, you know, to do the longest distance, because it's not going to be just about driving efficiently. It's going to be all about tactics on, do you drive faster, but you have a car that can charge fast? That sort of thing, the most amount of distance in a certain time.
EV endurance, yeah, but you'll have to have categories. I'd obviously go for the over 100,000 mile and over 200,000 mile category.
Yeah, but as in
what I love about this is Kevin sets up an event that he knows he'd be really good at, and you add two categories that you know that you can win. Not that we're like throwing this event or anything. Let's invent an event that we can all win. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
EV drifting, that's what I want to do.
Smallest battery category, and I'll win that. Yeah.
What, 12 volts?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How far can you drive on your alternator, Alex?
I'm keen to, you know, sprinkle some excitement, to inject some, you know, danger. Danger, it's probably not the right word to use. Although saying that, I very much enjoy playing I'm a Fire Starter really loudly out of my Tesla recently. So I think that's just the perfect tune just to bash out with my exhaust noise or whatever noise I fancy doing. But yeah, I just feel like it's just to gain a little bit more traction, just to get more kind of petrol heads, more people that maybe not considering an EV because they think they're boring and all the rest of it. I just feel that we need to create something here. Guys, anyone in the comments right now, what should we do from an event point of view to get more people excited about them?
The best EV event that I've done is about it's 8 years ago this summer when the Kona launched in the UK. Or was it 7 years ago? That'd be 7 years ago. When the Kona launched in the UK, Hyundai did a little competition called the Kona Rally. And it started out in, I think, Aylesbury. And it was a 12-hour event, and it was overnight. And you had a series of things that you could take photos of or pick up to win points along the way. And the further you went, the bigger the points. And the idea was basically to get you to drive as far as you could in 12 hours. But you could choose whichever direction you went in. And as an event, this ended up with people going all the way up to up near like Newcastle and stuff. Yeah, like Leeds, up way far north. Or I mean, we went out to we went out to the Mumbles and Swansea and stuff, and but you had things that you could pick up, things you could take photos of, and it was all kind of tracked in real time, and it was a great event, and it got everyone on the event to kind of to go and push the boundaries. And the idea is at the end of it, on top of the points, you could win bonus points for how much range you returned with, and how many miles you'd done overall. So you would, it was fun. It was a good event, and it wasn't just driving efficiently. You kind of had, there was a time element to it and other bits and pieces as well. So
Roland, literally in my head, the cogs were whirring, or the motor coils were spinning, whatever you want to call it. And I was just thinking, not a trip to Nürburgring. I was thinking, call it the ring something or other, and just drive round and round the M25 and see how many times, like if you do it time bound, you could do the 12 hours, like how many times you get round it or how many miles you can do. And everyone has to go round the M25. How amusing would that be?
So in daytime, not even one ring round it then. Because you'll be stationary for most of it.
Well, it could be a nighttime thing. We all start together. I thought that would be quite amusing, because you could like do a parody on the ring. We're all going to the ring, and or the car park. But yeah, maybe a trip to Nürburgring. It's not a bad shout.
But actually, what Alex has said there shows what a game changer the Kona was. The fact that was 7 years ago, and you've still got quite a few cars that haven't caught up with it yet on that efficiency.
I suppose it's like to increase the footfall or the tire fall of as many people to be involved as possible. You can't really do something around that's going to disadvantage people with a smaller battery or a bigger battery or performance and all the rest of it. It's just trying to find that event that is going to that more people can get involved in, but it is still really, really fun. And that's why I suppose the London to Brighton one's fun, because not everyone has to do the efficiency run, and this is why I like doing it. But there must be other things, other events or type of vehicle journeys we can do.
Yeah. Well, effectively, it is a treasure hunt, isn't it? That would be one of the things, is to mix it up a bit, that type of idea, because that's what Alex did. Really, was basically an automotive treasure hunt.
Yeah, and I suppose with that, you then throw in other things where you kind of maybe you have to measure the efficiency as well. You just kind of you can either choose to get lots of, I don't know, you can either get really good efficiency and not pick up many things or not go as far, or you can, I don't know, battery things. You have to bring in lots of criteria. So there's lots of different strategies. You have to think about your best strategy for your EV to win it. Like in something like an Ioniq 6, you might choose to go, well, we won't pick up any of the waypoints. We'll just beast it straight up to like Edinburgh and back, and just get loads of points on mileage and come back with loads of range or something like that, or you could have something with a shorter range where you do lots of like local waypoints and you get lots of points for picking up things. I don't know. There's lots of ways to do it. It was a really good event, and it was a really good way of getting people talking. So
I like the idea. Lewis has just put Newcastle to Edinburgh, beautiful route. But all I can think of is if it starts in Newcastle, get there the night before. Newcastle's a great night out, and then so's Edinburgh. So it would be a very hungover drive and then a very hungover ending. I really should probably.
And this is the problem. Why? You've got a designated driver in the middle here as well.
That's true. Perfect.
Yeah, you found the person who doesn't drink.
Do you not drink either, Kev?
No, that's
no. I do drink. Kevin doesn't drink. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Kev's designated driver. So.
Yeah, maybe I'm not in the middle on Tim's screen. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, you are. I just think that there is some good opportunities here. I need to get out there and do a drifting video, because now I've got some new wheels on Rusty and I've got a spare set just next to me here. Although it would be a waste to ruin some lovely Michelin Pilot Sports, but all in the focus of content making and tire smoke generating. Not as green as probably people would like me to be, but is what it is. So maybe a treasure hunt between Newcastle and Edinburgh sounds pretty good, or a Nürburgring run, a bigger round road trip, say 25 miles out of M25, so lots of A and B roads, sort of a rally.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what the Le Mans Cup was, that me and Alex have done a few times, was kind of out of the M25. And it's weird that you don't think there's that much countryside and he's so close to, rural Essex is quite countryside-y.
Yeah, I just think it's either got to be a rally where it can't be a new car rally because you then have to get sponsorship, and I don't think it'd be quite as fun. You need sponsors that aren't actually an OEM, I think. So like a Bangonomics style EV rally. I think we spoke about that before. We all buy you've got $2,000 to spend.
So basically, a rally.
If you did it with the treasure hunt, you'd have to earn extra points for the older the vehicle is. So if you drive a 10-year-old, a 10-year-old Leaf, you get a natural bonus of double points on my longer range or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't want to do
be quite an interesting way to normalise it. Well,
we're all
in a relief, that's for sure. Sorry,
I was going to say we're all doomed if Chris Ramsey enters, then, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a bit of form on going to really out of the way places.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
we did talk, didn't we, about doing an endurance track session in old Nissan Leafs last summer?
We did.
You could pick up and just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it involves money, so this is why I think we should really focus on stuff that people can do in their own cars rather than have to shell out for something.
And have BTCC rules.
We need some ideas, people. So yeah, keep them in the comments, whether it's on YouTube or message me at chargeheads@gmail.com. Because very much up for some ideas, sponsorship, because there must be some fun stuff we can do that is going to create some traction and get some good content, and and just a bit of fun, because there's plenty of fun that we can have with electric cars. You just got to have a vision of what it looks like, really. Motocross, I'm thinking that would be fun.
You do that in your Model 3.
Well, put a lift kit on it. Turn the traction control
little auto test things, don't they? Like the what do they call them? Where you have just auto testing, isn't it? And there's a parallel Pomeroy, which is a Toyota thing, which is where they have lots of different things that you'll have to win. That could be quite interesting. But yeah.
Adams just put a motorway rally above Leeds. Watch the fighting for motorway charging. Yeah, I think as soon as you get north, I know the Tesla network starts to get a little bit flaky, depending on where you are and what state of charge you got and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I obviously don't experience non-Tesla charging. That's sort of a Kevin and Alex gig, really.
I know. I always go for Tesla chargers if they're there, so I'm fully with you on that.
Oh. Disgusting.
You say about sort of challenges and auto testing. The weirdest one I've ever done on an automotive thing is: have you ever done a blindfold driving challenge?
No,
not purposely.
No, that's that's the hardest thing to do. Being blindfolded and your passenger directing you.
My friend used to.
Apparently, passengers get quite scared
back in the day.
So.
We can't really do
frowned upon on the road, though, isn't it?
It's
frowned upon.
I believe it's frowned upon on the track now. I think it's got a lot of scope to go horribly wrong, hasn't it?
Banger racing's probably would be quite exciting, wouldn't it? That'd be hilarious. Banger racing Nissan Leafs.
EV banger racing.
EV banger racing. Imagine.
Apparently they all catch fire though, don't they? So we couldn't do that.
Well, this is.
You
know what? That is it. That is. So what's it? Norfolk Arena. Have a skip filled with water on standby. I think that would be amazing.
Is this
what a way to send off?
Sorry, say again.
What a send off for the Nissan Leaf, eh?
Well, I've seen the crash test pictures that Alex showed me, and it seems it's very hard to find one.
Have you seen those? The DECRA pictures. This is the thing they did. What?
I was going to say, this is the thing. We know that the Nissan Leaf is pretty bulletproof. I mean, I think that would be a great way to show how tough EVs are. But it's like, who in their right mind, which track would accept that? None of them. But if you are, please get into contact, because I'd be well up for organising something. That would be really amazing. I'm not sure if I want to drive in it. And I would have to drive in it.
They didn't catch fire though.
Wow. Okay. So better than a blade back.
That car did not catch fire. There's a picture of it underneath as well, which is even better for it. And then you can see. There you go. Just to show you that it does have a because I dared to look at my phone and take it out the tiny bit of.
Put it this way: it was a Nissan Leaf that looked like a banana. For those not watching visuals, and for people who can't see the visuals because Alex's camera's gone. Oh, jeez! I think that's something similar that happened to my mate's Golf GTI 16 valve on black ice once. Flipping heck, that is pretty awful. Yeah. Put it this way, for the people that are listening on the podcast, there's a V in the side of the Nissan Leaf, and the V has got probably just past the middle, and the battery's not on fire. There we go. Yes.
It was a 70-mile to see if it caught fire, and none of them caught fire.
Well, okay, there we go. Okay, so I think Renault Zoes are probably the same. So Renault Zoe and Nissan Leaf banger racing. We just need to find the venue. Private land. As soon as one catches fire, everyone runs. That's the safety procedure.
You need a field afterwards to put them in.
Please get in touch. If anybody has got private land that they're willing to have some electric vehicles destroy themselves, get in touch. Because that's what... Guys, would you drive an electric car in banger racing?
Yeah. It depends who's going to crash into me is the problem.
Kev, what are you saying?
I'm not worried about crashing. I'm worried about people crashing into me is the problem.
I put a target on inside of his car.
You'd see the non-efficient side of me.
Be Red Ross.
Oh, Kev getting black flagged every 2 minutes. Sent into the cool down zone.
People who played Forza with me have seen I'm quite aggressive on the racetrack. I'm pretty certain pit maneuvers are legitimate in all forms of racing, aren't they? Just a little nudge on the back corner to get past them.
Electric cars go the same speed forwards as they do backwards, right? So I'd have to be like some of this.
You've just solved it. Reverse racing in EVs. You've just worked it out.
Reverse banger racing.
Yeah, so you just do them in reverse because they can go the same speed if you just take the software off them.
There we go. Right, I think we're on something here, chaps. I really, really do. And we got another one in here. Coast to coast, Canafon to Norwich. Oh, KC, good man, joined in.
Nice to meet you yesterday.
There we go. Oh, you got a shout out on my video, mate. I saw a Nissan Zoe for £900. Maybe it's time. Wacky races type kids too. 100%. I think we need to keep an eye out for these cheap EVs. Do you think EVs could kill banger racing in the future? Could kill off banger racing in the future?
I don't know, because wouldn't they just do the same thing as you do with like banger racing now, where you have a fuel cell? You just have an EV cell, which is just a couple of modules. Yeah, because you don't need runtime. You need enough for the race, don't you? So you'd have a safety cell in the middle, like you do with a fuel cell.
Yeah, and it'd be like 3 laps because the range probably wouldn't last as long as that. Full chat. Perfect. Right. So what we've decided is banger racing of, I think it's got to be just Nissan Leaf and Renault Zoes. I don't think it can be anything else because nothing else is cheap enough. And I wouldn't want to do banger racing in a Mitsubishi Ion. Okay. Jeez. Let's put pillows around it. That would be scary. I can't think of anything cheaper. Kia Soul, I think you'd probably accept in there, but I don't think you'd get one cheap enough. But so, yeah, banger racing, some clear... We'd have to get a safety chap involved to understand, what safety measures. Would we need a roll cage in it? I suppose that you have to start writing the rule book and see if we can get it approved.
Well, would actually stop, but because obviously you see banger racing, it's things like their radiators go and stuff. Well, you haven't got those. So how long will they just keep growing? There's just going to be this motor left with no car attached.
as soon as you get one bang, the fuse will go, and it's like bong, it's off, it's gone, you know. So yeah, do you reckon roll cages exist for Zoes and Leafs? Well, they don't yet, mate, but as soon as we get started.
It was a Zoe rally car, remember? They did one.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Someone's turned a Nissan Leaf into a time attack car, I think, as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my mate Clive was telling me, mental. I don't think that's probably the right thing to do, but I think that's got legs. That sounds exciting. That sounds possible. It's just venue and safety, but we don't need safety if it's private land. Just have to write motorsport is dangerous, sign it off.
That's how it works.
I'm into a dark part of the internet because I've gone on the first image for a Nissan Leaf roll cage is a picture of the back end of a Nissan Leaf with a tow bar. I think what a tow bar looks like, and it says "Damn boy, he thick." So I don't know what I've fallen into here, but I don't like it. But you've got strap braces and stuff for them.
Oh yeah. So what's his name? I forget his name. I did a video on it. He tuned a Nissan Leaf, upgraded the battery, upgraded the inverter, and he did put a strut brace on it and some Nissan 350Z wheels. Dala EV. Check out his Nissan Leaf. It's highly modified. He also had a 100 NX that he EV converted, which was very cool. But I think he's taken it apart now because he can get it road legal or something. But yeah,
I'm sure the guys over in Ireland, what are they called? The guys that were doing the lot of EV swaps over in Ireland.
Oh no,
sorry.
EV Breakers have made they've got a roll cage in their Tesla Model 3. They take that on track. That would be
some guys over in Ireland that were taking Leaf motors and taking the gearboxes out of I said gearbox, it's not really a gearbox, but basically the hybrid bit out of Toyota and Lexus hybrids and doing those as EV conversions. I can't think what the name was. Sorry?
Damien. He's like the god.
With those, they were saying you could get 250 horsepower out of a Leaf motor.
Oh yeah, you can. So, yeah, that was the original plan, to put a Nissan Leaf motor in the TVR and tune it. But the gearbox that I was going to put in it from Felton or Zero EV at the time couldn't take the power. It wasn't rated to as much power, so we went against it. And having a Nissan Leaf motor in a TVR, I'd probably get a lot of stick for that. It's like, what have you done? You've ruined it even more now. Oh, okay. So the Tesla swap sounded like the better thing to do. Although, to be honest, I think it would probably have been done by now if it was the Nissan Leaf swap with that gearbox. But who knows? Because, let's not get into that. But maybe I should talk to EV Breakers, because I think they might be up for that. And they've got a few broken cars over there. They might have a friend with a track, which have to scoot off to Ireland. I'll be up for that. It's close for you guys anyway.
Yeah, just hop over to Cork on the ferry.
There we go. Right, I think we've gone well over, but it's exciting. I like talking about this sort of stuff. This is what I'm talking about. Chargeheads, YEV podcast, talking about exciting EV stuff. That's what it's all about. I hope everyone's enjoyed the session today, and don't forget to watch the video that I put out earlier, which is the EV rally. Had Kev and Alex on it as well, and all the fun and games with that. And there is the Tesla Supercharged event on Saturday. Going to be covering that. Going to probably take Rusty. And this week, I'm going to be at the RTX show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is the Road Transport Expo. Loads of HGVs, lots of electric HGVs. And I'll be there with Dynamon on the stand. So come and say hello, especially if you want to do some EV planning for your large commercial fleet, or any fleet, really. So, Kevin, what are you up to this week?
So I'm sort of jet setting again. I'm off to Europe to test one of the new really big battery plug-in hybrids. The mad thing is it's got a 38 kilowatt hour battery pack and can CCS charge at 70 kilowatts. When you think that's probably similar, that's faster than my original Ionic could charge at, and it's got the same size battery. So it'll be interesting to see how that, it's a shame. I think plug-in hybrids, if they'd come out like that in the beginning, I don't think we'd have a polarized argument, but then we wouldn't have a podcast, because people would have already got used to the EV thing, because they'd be like, oh, I happen to plug this in. I'm hardly using the fuel. So I think that would have solved the argument earlier, but they just weren't up to it, were they? They were reliable, the early plug-in hybrids, which just didn't have the range or efficiency.
What about yourself, Alex? No doubt it involves squirrels.
I was going to say, what's that? I couldn't really hear. Oh, what am I up to this week?
Yeah.
This week I am mainly doing sports days and high school induction days, so not as much not as much on the work front this week as normal, but the rest is involves squirrels, I'm afraid.
Squirrels and nuts and other small furry rodents. Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for listening in. Don't forget to share, especially if you enjoyed the chat about the potential imminent banger racing that we're going to try and achieve. And please share it, because there might be some crazy people out there that would want to sponsor such things and get involved with such land and stuff. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week. And if you missed the start, jump on Spotify, because it's on there. It'll be on there by tomorrow morning. Anyway, thanks everyone. See you next time.
See ya.
Cheers, guys.